What's up, taters? Hey, everybody. I'm here with my special guest, Rob Noerr, and he is an I want to call you an up-and-comer in Twitch, but every time somebody up-and-comes on Twitch, they will knock you down, Rob. So I don't want to compliment you, but that'd be the kiss of death.
Well, trust me, I'm ready for it. Even left-wingers are getting the axe off of Twitch now. So
yeah, I just heard today that they banned Destiny.
Yeah, they did. Because there is we can talk about whatever issue you want. I'll just say this. There are radical progressives on Twitch that for some reason, well, I know why, the corporations like Twitch and Twitter follow. And so even if you're a lefty, you're no longer safe. You have to tout their line. And if you say positions such as, I think that biological men should not compete in sports with biological women, that's enough to get you banned now from Twitch.
Is that what he said? Is that what happened? Is that why he's off the platform?
Well, so it's hard to say, right? That's what he's suggesting, but they don't tell you. So anytime you get banned from Twitch, they just say hate speech. And it's like, well, what did I say? And he claims that he thinks that's what did it. He also did other things, like he debated Nick Fuentes. So people were suggesting that might have been it, but Destiny's
But as long as he didn't air it on Twitch,
I don't know if he did or not. But the point is, I don't know. I know this. I know the people that mass reported him were people from the trans community that were upset. They were upset about his comments, and I myself have had a pretty lengthy discussion with Destiny about trans issues on Twitch. I was naive. I didn't know that all of this censorship was going. I mean, I knew censorship was occurring, but I had people like mass texting me like, dude, stop talking about trans issues on Twitch.
Oh, yeah, they'll come for you. They're like the cabal on Twitch, dude.
Yeah,
seriously.
Yeah. And I wasn't even saying anything bad. I'm just like, things that 95% of the world thinks. Like, if we're going to have female athletics, then it should be for females.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if you're a trans human being, I'm not going to treat you like crap. That's not what, but I'm also not going to capitulate to the point where I say, oh, I don't know what a woman is. I just have no idea. I'm not going to pretend to be a moron.
Like Ketanji Jackson. She's a woman, was picked to be in that position for being a black woman. I was like, why won't those senators say, can you describe what a woman is? And she talking about something, I'm not a biologist. And I would have been like, okay, what are you? Are you a man or a woman? I would have got her quick. They didn't even do a follow-up with, are you a man or a woman? What are you? How do you know you? If she said, well, I'm a woman, well, how do you know? How do you? It's easy to stump these people, and I've had a long run-in with the trans women community on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? They have tried to tell me what I can say, what I can do on my website, and I tell them to kiss my ass. I'm like, you're not my masters, okay? You don't do what you say. You know what I'm saying? And there's no match for me, because when I was on Twitch, I was the top conservative on there, and then they could not. And the thing about it is, they were shadow banning me. Are you shadow banned yet, or?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't look. They know I've been doing Twitch for about 2 years now. I started doing these panels, like these ridiculous panels, like Dylan Burns' show or Prime K's show, and I was a debater in college, so I'm a pretty good debater.
Yeah, you are, actually. I want to tell you that I've seen your debate. It was on something called the Cubicles, or you were debating you was JR.
Yeah.
And you were really good, because it's so easy to destroy their argument when they're so central on race, you know what I'm saying? But you got to know how to do it. And I was like, that Rob guy got it. He was able to shut it down with the whole things. So that was a really good debate.
I did that in college. I was a pretty good debater in college. And, I'm conservative. I'm populist even more than I'm conservative. But, I enjoy debates also. And this isn't my career. I stream because it's my entertainment. That's what I do. If it would take off for me, great. If not, that's fine. If I'm streaming and 3 people are watching, it's okay. I'm still streaming. Yeah. I do this because I enjoy it. So when I would start doing these panels and things like that, basically the only time that the left wants to talk to me is when they could have a boogeyman on the panel. Destiny will debate me one-on-one. Other than that, good luck. And the people that do, they don't do so well. And, it's this constant thing. They have to have this constant self-affirmation where they have this little bubble that they stay in, and they tell themselves how great they're doing. But as soon as you leave that little, I mean, make no mistake about it, just because these radical lefties dominate a platform like Twitch, that ideology is not dominant in the real world. It is not. And so they stay there because it's their little safe space where they think that they can control the show and stuff. But when someone like me or you comes in that's from outside that, and we're just like, we're not going to take your bullshit, we're going to tell it like it is, they don't know how to handle us.
Right,
you know?
right.
And they, you know, and the things they say about me, it's just not true. Like if they say I'm not a good debater, that's just, you might disagree with me, but that's stupid. I am a good debater. Or they'll say that I'm some very mean person. I'm not. I'm one of the nicest people.
I am a mean person.
See, not me. I have tons of left-wing friends that I made in the debate community. I'm very nice in the real world. I just get tired of conservatives being pushed around. And so when I go on these platforms, and it's not about do you personally like someone or not. Most of these people I wouldn't personally like. But it's about I'm bringing my ideas and you're bringing yours. And I'm sick and tired of watching conservatives go in there and going, yeah, you're making some really great points.
Exactly. That's what, exactly.
The hell with that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I'm mean. I'm merciful. I see it. One of the things, everything you just said, I agree. And this is the reason why I'm not nice to these people. You have to earn my respect. Automatically, when I see a pink and baby blue and white flag behind you, I'm automatically on guard. And I'm already I'm like, here we go with the bullshit coming from this person. So I'm automatically I'm not going to be friendly because I know they're going to do something underhanded. They're going to, basically, they love to gangbang on you. They just love to just grab their group of people and come after you all together. They can't handle you one-on-one. So I look at these people and I'm like, you know, you guys on here on Twitch, you're not like the trans on YouTube. All right, because what we have there's a trans man named Mars. I adore him. Okay, mm-hmm. Blair White, trans woman. I like her too. So it's like these are people that are reasonable and I can get down with. But I have not, to this day, have not had anybody from the left that's trans that even come to me with respect. They're condescending to me because I'm black, have the nerve to tell me what I'm doing against my own interests. Now that's very racist. So, you know, I'm not nice to these people because they are accustomed to us being nice. So I'll let them know, no, I'm mean. I will cuss you out and I will tell you things that's going to get me banned.
Right. I try to reciprocate is what I do. So if I'm talking to, and by the way, I'm like this in strength of argument as well. So for example, let's say that we're talking about something that I'm passionate about, like who should we elect, Donald Trump or Joe Biden? And I'm talking to someone who's my neighbor that's never dealt with politics whatsoever. And they start asking questions that it's clear they don't really look into it. They're like, oh, what, like, wasn't Biden, like, wasn't he on the Supreme Court? It's like, well, no, I'm not going to come at that person and just be like, to hell with you. You don't know what you're talking, right? Because they're just having a civil conversation with me. And so, but when you get on these, this is what the left wants, particularly on Twitch, right? This happens to me all the time. 4 conservatives versus 4 lefties. This is a literal situation that happened. It's a month before the election. Who you voting for, Joe Biden or Donald Trump? Go. So the lefties go Biden, 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 Biden. Then it's the right. They go Biden, Biden. I'm not voting. And then me, I'm like, Trump.
Then they're not conservatives.
Right. So that's what? And then what happens after the debate? This is what their whole community says. Well, some conservatives are good. Those conservatives that were voting for Biden, they're good conservatives. But
they're not conservatives. Like Rob,
I don't like, because they expect you to go on there and just be pushed up. Oh, you have, and you know, and look, I'll call it like I see it, right? Like I know that most of them have bigger audiences than me. And so I think a lot of conservatives get like starstruck, like, oh, I'll try to sound good to these 1,000 people that are Destiny's
But Rob, what makes them conservative?
Well, they're grifters. 95% of them are grifters. And I don't care what label you put on you. To me, the thing I value the most in life is that you're authentic. Be yourself.
But if are you authentic if you sit up here and say you're a conservative and you're going to vote for a puppet like Biden?
It's
a
ridiculous.
child sniffer like Biden?
Yeah. Well, and that's what it is. Now, having said that, people say that people try to gatekeep too much, I think. Like, for example, people will say things like this. Well, Rob, you're for legalization of marijuana. Is that really conservative? I think so. But fine. I don't care what you call me. I'll tell you this. I guarantee everything I tell you is the God's honest truth of what I believe. And that's all I ask from other people. If you're a communist, admit it. Admit that you're a commie. Don't sit here and lie to me. Well, I call myself a sock dem, but Stalin wasn't that bad. Don't BS me. Just be honest, right? And that's what the left expects on these Twitch platforms. They expect that you're going to go on there and let them push you around and let them pick the topics, and you're going to try to grovel so that some of their listen. If you're out there and you think you're conservative and you think, oh, I'm going to get some of Destiny or Vosh's fans to watch me, they're not going to. They don't like you. Stop pandering to them. Tell them how you really feel and stop thinking, oh, I'll get 5 or 10 more viewers if I say this. Screw that. Say what you want. And if your audience leaves you, then they weren't worth it in the first place.
Yeah. I'm embraced by Destiny's audience. And when they ask me questions like, do you believe in systemic racism? I'm like, nah, systemic racism don't exist. And I'm against CRT, and I don't change my colors, you know what I'm saying, for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's how you have to be. That doesn't mean, look, let's be honest. No two people, if you're a free thinker, will ever agree on everything, right? You're always going to, me and you, if we go down a list of things, we'll find things we disagree with. That's okay. Disagreement's okay. But what you can't do is...
Your camera is freezing. I just want to let you know, your camera is freezing up periodically on my end.
Oh, geez. It looks good on mine.
Stop. Go ahead and continue, because what it is I think every time you type on your computer, it freezes up for.
Oh, okay, I will not type at all.
You're still frozen, but it'll unfreeze. I was watching you the last time, and it was frozen up, and then it'll unfreeze. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't. Jeez, I don't. But yeah, I mean, all you can do is be yourself. And to me, I'm uninterested in having conversations with fake people. And I'm going to tell you right now that 95% of the Twitch politics people are the most fake people you'll ever meet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree, because if you're still there and Twitch is not messing with you, you are authentic.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's just...
How did you manage to stay on there this long?
Well, because I don't have a big audience. That's the first thing.
Good point.
I mean, that's the truth. Because I'm basically shadow banned. I don't even think... Here's how I think it happens 95% of the time. I think the people that are... You probably got banned on Twitch because you pissed off some radical lefty, and so they sent their followers... Either they told them to, or their followers took it upon themselves to go to your channel to watch you like a hawk. And the first time that you said something that they thought they could mass report, 30 of them reported it at the same time. And Twitch doesn't want to deal with it, right? So they're just like, yeah, whatever. We'll just kick this lady off. Yeah, that's how it. I've been in a couple situations where I've got sort of the ire of people that are extreme progressives, but most of the times the circles I'm dealing with, it's not those people. So if I don't debate Demon Mama, if I don't debate No Comment Chick, then their audience that's trying to get everyone banned isn't coming to get me banned because they just don't know what I'm saying. Right. It's not until, I'll be honest, the times that I've got the most shit are like when I'm debating Destiny. And it's not Destiny's fault. Right. It's just because that's when people were seeing me. Right. So then it's like, I was on the front page of Reddit on Gay Pride Month, because Destiny his editor clipped a video of 1 minute of an hour discussion we had that said debating conservative into pro-trans stance. And he selectively edited it. If you watch the entire debate, Destiny ends up agreeing with me.
I haven't seen that debate. I should. That's a debate. Okay, I'll put that on my list to watch.
Check it out.
I've been watching when the other debates where you're on YouTube. I know that's so biased, but I hate Twitch so much that so I gotta go to Twitch and watch some debates. But I did go watch. I watched you and some Groiper, and all he did was spend the entire time calling you fat. You just was just tearing him up with arguments. Now that was laughable, because I'm like, that's all you got is to talk about somebody's appearance, then you ain't got no argument.
It's like, I don't smoke, right? But I remember I worked at Burger King when I was like 17. My friend, I'm outside on my break, and my friend's smoking. And this old woman comes up and goes, "Excuse me, can I borrow a cigarette?" My friend's like, "Sure." Hands her the cigarette, and she breaks it in half and goes, "These are bad for you." And I was like, "Oh, thank goodness. We'd never heard that. You're the first person who told us cigarettes were bad. Thank you so much for saving our lives." It's like, what do these people think? "Oh, you're fat." I'm like, oh my God, really? Holy shit. I don't own a mirror, so I didn't know. Like, thanks so much for that. I don't mind people, like, if you want to do personal insults and stuff, I don't even care. Just make it original and funny. The problem with the groypers are they're all interchangeable. They're just, it's the exact, like we just talked about. We want people that are real, that are authentic. They're just pretending. They look at Nick Fuentes and they say, how can I be a caricature of him? Right. And Nick's actually an intelligent person. I might not agree with all of his ideas, but he's intelligent. He could debate. He could think for himself. The rest of them are just saying, oh, how can I suck up to him and try to be like a light version of him? I have no respect for that. Be your own person. And if you think that you're cool because you could go on with a group of 5 other people and just call people fat or racial slurs or something, and that makes you edgy and cool, it doesn't. It makes you a stupid kid that's desperately trying to fit in because you can't stand on your own 2 feet. That's what they are, as far as I'm concerned.
What was up with that Indian girl asking men, have they seen their father's penis? I thought to myself, what a terrible thing to ask. Like, I would hate for her to ask that to someone who actually been sexually violated by it. What a dumb thing to say. Is that her go-to thing when she don't have any arguments?
Yeah, that's Stardust. So Stardust, you know, I don't mind Stardust as a person, but what's happening is this, right? There's this gut feeling, and you could employ this well, but if someone's edgy to you, you could be edgy back to them. And they'll be like, whoa, so she's trying, in her head, she's like,
that's not edgy. Like, what if she said that to somebody who's been sexually violated by their father? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's stupid. That's her go-to is, have you seen your father's penis?
I've heard her say that on 2 or 3 panels. So I'm just like, whatever. I had a run in with her. And again, I don't dislike Stardust.
This woman is crazy.
She is Stardust, part of her brand. And listen, I'll say that I don't want anyone canceled. So you do you. You want to be a leftist on Twitch doing drama streaming, fine. As long as you're not doxing people or trying to get them banned, I don't care what you do. If I don't like it, I won't watch. That's simple. Right. So Stardust, I don't like, but part of her brand is that she's trying to create drama. So I was on a panel one time. It's a true story. I'll try to make the story as quick as possible. Topic for this particular area was, should the Democrats pack the Supreme Court? And Stardust said, well, I don't really have a take on it, but I know that we've packed lower courts and it's been okay. And then some other guy that's on the left's like, yeah, we should do it. So when I get my opening statement, I'm like, this is a terrible idea. Stardust and this other guy alluded to that we should do this. And Stardust is like, well, I didn't say that. I said, okay, you didn't say that, but you said that lower courts have been packed and it worked out okay. Here's 10 reasons this is bad. When she gets a chance to speak, she starts freaking out. How dare you put things in my mouth? I don't allow men to put things in my mouth. And Rob's trying to put things in my mouth. And she just goes on and on and on for like 3 minutes with this shit. And finally, I'm just like, Stardust, you're not that cute. Not every guy's trying to put things in your mouth. And then she's like apoplectic. And I'm just like, I don't care. It wasn't like a big moment to me. But do you know how many people on Twitter then reached out to me like, how dare you make like a sexual assault reference? I'm like, I didn't. She did.
What are you talking about? Have you seen your father's penis is a sexual assault reference? Are you crazy? You know what I'm saying?
Stupid.
It's very stupid. You know what I'm saying? I would never say something like that to anyone. And you know what? To me, as a right-winger, that's so typical of the left. They love to dabble in incest. They love horse cock. They love to deal with children. That's their avenue. You know what I'm saying? People like us, we don't go down that route. We don't want to like deal into the degenerate. Oh my God, this is crazy. It's just so obscene to go there. I could be edgy, and I have been edgy, and I don't go anywhere sexual. I never go anywhere sexual. As a matter of fact, when the one thing that told the one big thing that got me on the shit list with the trans women community on Twitch was when one of them was telling me I need to change my blog because I was talking about how this was when Trump was in office and Carlson. What is his first name?
Tucker?
No. The black guy who looks sleepy all the time.
Ben Carson?
Ben Carson had prevented trans women from going into shelters where biological women have been sexually assaulted, right? I was like, yeah, they don't need to be in there. They don't need to look at the very organ in the showers that have basically violated them. Sure. I find that okay. So they had a problem with that and told me to change this. I said, you know what? Kiss my ass. No, better yet, why don't you go to the black community? You know what I'm saying? And then somebody in the chat said, what that mean? I said, well, and this was in, hold on, make sure I get the year right. This is 2002. This was in 2019. During that year, this was in November. I'll never forget this. I had just did a statistics just to see how many trans women were were just basically brutalized and killed. And come to find out, 99% of it was from black people, black women and black men. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I always ask them, I said, how come you guys don't call black people out for killing you? You always talking about some trans white rights and, but you don't call black people. The number one people killing you are my people. How come y'all don't talk about that? You know what I'm saying? And they don't say nothing. So that was like, go to the black community if you got a problem with it.
Right. Well, they can't do that. They can't. They're cowards. Right? Like their entire ideology is based on victimhood, right?
Right.
I call it cultural Marxism, but you can define it how you want.
Yeah.
With Marxism, they were like, how can we divide the population? We'll divide based on wealth. There are people with wealth, the bourgeoisie, and then there's the workers, the proletariat. Well, what if we do that about every characteristic? One group's the oppressor and the other group's the oppressed. So do it based on race. Yeah. White people are oppressors, black people are oppressed. Do it based on sexuality. Straight people are oppressors, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So your goal in life, so look at me then. Look at all the categories I'm in. I'm white. Oh, that's bad, oppressor. Right? I'm a man. Oh, that's bad, oppressor. I'm straight and married. Oh, that's bad, oppressor. Christian. Oh, that's bad, oppressor. But I'm fat. Oh, I'm a victim all of a sudden. So then all I do is play up the victimhood. I just play up, I'm fat. People hate fat people, right? I'm like you. I understand what it's like to be a victim like you. You must be a victim. You're black, right? I get it.
Oh, I'm a victim on YouTube right now, but it's like...
So then, see, we got that victimhood together. And what they don't understand is half these groups that they're lumping together as victims fucking hate each other.
Yeah.
The Muslims are victims, but the gay community's victims. Geez, what do the Muslims think about the gay community? And the reality is, the black community on these sorts of issues...
Saudi, because they executed about 20 of them last week, but, they won't talk about that, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, the black community on these issues is far more conservative than the average white person. It's true.
That's true.
And so it's... But they don't, the logic doesn't matter. It's not about logic. Most of them are postmodernists and they don't really believe in truth anyways. So it doesn't matter if it logically makes sense. It's just a power game to them.
Yeah.
And so they understand. And this is why if you're in one of the quote oppressed groups, the number one rule is this: you only get the victimhood points, which is the most important thing, being a victim. But it only counts for you if you agree with them ideologically. So if you're a black, gay, trans woman, but you're like, I'm voting for Trump, then you're the worst. They'll come at you harder than anyone.
Right.
Because how dare you sell out your community?
Right.
It's like you're not an individual.
No.
They don't look at you as an individual. They say, if you're a black woman, then you must think like X.
Right.
And if you don't, then you're selling out the black community.
Right. I'm like, and I every time I tear them up, what is a sellout? Who the hell are you to dictate what I'm supposed to live? Are you saying all blacks are the same? Because that in itself will make you a racist. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I will, and they don't fuck with me because they know I will go there. And I love a good fight with these people. You know what I'm saying? Twitch. And but they won because I'm not on there. I'm not permabanned. I'm indefinitely suspended. And the last time I was indefinitely suspended, I was away for 8 months, and so they waited until Biden was in office, and that's when they decided to bring me back.
Yeah, well, there you go. They're garbage.
But hold on. I'm sorry, I'm missing the part. But when I came back, I didn't stream anymore on treeoflogic. I didn't touch that channel. Right. But they still had it out for me. So I was in Destiny's chat room, and Destiny was playing a Renaissance game, and everybody in the game was white. That's relevant, by the way. I got to tell you that everybody in the game was white. So he was wondering why the NPCs in the garden was not planting weeds, and I said, whip them. I said, whip them. I said, white people need to be whipped. And I got banned indefinitely for harassment.
Yeah. It's nuts.
And I was joking. I was just, because I'm sure you heard this. I used to be a domina, right? You know, say a professional domina. So I'm speaking like I retired back in 2012. But I'm talking about on the BDSM level. I'm like, yeah, whip them. I say they love to be whipped. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm talking like that on a comical level, and the entire chat just bust out laughing because they were in on a joke.
Right.
Nope. I got banned for chatting in the room, and they said I was harassing Steven. And I said, what? And I challenged them. I said, I want you to go to him right now and ask him, did he feel like I was harassing him? And they didn't respond back to me. And I was like, you know what? I just went on to burn the bridge because, like, I'm like, this is the second time I got indefinitely suspended, you know, for something I didn't do. You know what I'm saying? I did get suspended for 7 days for something I did do. And I accidentally called Primes. I said, you know, Primes, that's mine. And I said the N word with the ER. It just came out, right?
No, but even that, it's like, I mean, it's so, first off, like what your story illustrates here is, you have to understand, like, you could see the dystopian future. We're moving towards a globalist future. That's what they want. A globalist neo-feudalism, right? So they realize that the biggest impediment to that is people, particularly in the West, that are working class. So they need to make you totally dependent on the government. And you can't have, one of the reasons they go, I don't know what I'm not super religious. I don't talk about it a lot.
I can let you know right now. I am not religious. However, I am very pro-Christian. I noticed that as the world become more atheists, the less we get, the less we have values. And also the children are now up for the taking. That was not the case when Christianity was more profound in our country, but now you're coming after the kids, and that's a problem. And that's because atheism is now growing, and people just don't look at the innocence and innocence of children like they used to. So I am pro-Christian, even though I'm not Christian.
Well, what it is they want your God is supposed to be the state. Your
right,
God
the
is
government.
They want Zuckerberg and Joe Biden to be your God. That's what they want.
Right.
That's why they banned churches during COVID, but you were allowed to go to the casino. You
could
go to the liquor
that crazy?
store, but you couldn't go to church. Right? Same indoor situation, but you couldn't go to church. You couldn't do something that's no doubt good for you.
Right.
You know, and so what I believe, one of the things they need to do that, along with that, you have to worship them, is they have to eliminate humor. They have to pretend like they don't understand. And it's so funny to me. And so that's, they can't, they will look at you like, oh, you must have been serious. Like, let me give you an example. I'm supposed to believe these are positions that not fringe, but mainstream Democrats want me to believe. They want me to believe that Donald Trump was basically groomed to be a spy for Vladimir Putin for years. Some people even said, even when he was doing The Apprentice, but he had all these connections to Putin behind the scenes, right? But at the same time, he went on national TV in front of everyone and told Vladimir Putin to hack Hillary's email. Now, that's not what he did. What he did was he told a joke. And the joke was this. Well, the FBI let her delete all of these emails with Bleachbit, so we'll never know what was in them unless Russia has them. It was a joke.
Oh,
but the
that's
left
what he
has
said?
to pretend.
Okay.
They're like, they have to pretend. They're just like they have to pretend they don't know what a woman is. They're like, a joke? I've never heard of that. What do you mean? He literally used those words. Therefore, he must have. I don't know what sarcasm is. I don't know what a joke is. Right. And that's how they would look at you saying something like that. Now, if you were on the left, let's say I was on the left, right? And you make that joke, and I would say, I'm horribly offended by that. How dare you? That belittles the experience of slaves and black people. And then I go home, and I come back on the stream later, and I'm in blackface. That'd be okay. That's fun. That's a joke. Jimmy Kimmel did it. It's a fun. Justin Trudeau did it. It's a funny joke. No big deal. You see, that's how they employ these double standards. Like, and we're not supposed to notice. And it's one of the things that I struggle with on my channel. I'm just done. I'm done with these people because what we do as conservatives or Republican, whatever you want to call, I don't consider myself. I mean, I'm a Republican.
I'm right wing. I tell people, because a lot of people think I'm conservative. I'm right wing. So
yeah, I'm tired of even me who wants to fight back. The fundamental mistake I make all the time is allowing them to control the narrative and the topics we talk about.
Yeah.
It's every week, you know? So, for example, when all this shit's going down under COVID and all the corruption with Biden and stuff, you know how many panels I went on, and this was the topic. What do you think of Ted Cruz going to Cancun while his constituents didn't have power?
What?
I'm like, yeah, it sucked. It was a bad thing. Anyways, on to more important things. And so the same people that said Russia collusion for 4 years, now when it comes out through filings under Durham, there was Russia collusion. The Hillary camp colluding with a Russian spy to spy on Trump, that the FBI then took that bullshit to spy on Trump. Yes, that Russia collusion existed. All of a sudden, they don't want to talk about it. But I'm supposed to
just like they don't want to talk about Hunter's laptop.
You're damn right. And so then they all of a sudden then they'll be like, oh, that's not a big story. We're over that. We want to talk about COVID. Then as soon as something comes up about COVID, like, oh, it turns out that there's a lot of evidence that it did come from a lab. All of a sudden, they don't want to talk about COVID anymore. No, we need to move on to the next subject. So my mistake I make is I always try to address people. And the best example I could give is this. Black Lives Matter is lighting this entire country on fire, right? Over and over and over and over. And I'm trying to talk about it. No one on the left wants to talk about it. And then remember when Trump went out to that church that got lit on fire, and he went out with the Bible and gave a speech, and allegedly he told his Secret Service to beat the shit out of peaceful protesters. No, that was the big story, right?
I remember that.
So all these lefties start emailing me. What do you think of this? And I'll be honest. I watched the video. Now, Trump never ordered them. Right. There were cops that behaved inappropriately. There absolutely were. But then I realized what the power that they had by doing that. So now all of a sudden they're concerned about violence when they didn't say a damn word about it. Over and over. Hell, why was the Secret Service even there? Well, because the night before, a bunch of radical leftists on June 30th, 2020, attacked the White House and lit a guard station on fire and tried to break in and kill or remove Donald Trump. That's what they did. And they laughed at Trump. They said, what a bunker bitch. He had to hide in a bunker. Then fast forward to January 6th, and they're like, oh my God, it was an insurrection. Poor AOC. She was in a building that was next to a building where a guy with Viking horns walked in. And it's like, I don't take you seriously anymore. I don't give a shit.
I never took taking them seriously.
Well, you're further ahead of the game than me. Then.
Yeah, I've never taken them. The double speak has been going on for years, and I don't take these people seriously at all.
Well, let me ask you this question, right? This is something that I tried to explain to some friends of mine that aren't really into politics. Sometimes people say something so stupid that even if they're talking about something on a different topic, I can no longer appreciate anything they say. So if you look at me and you say, I literally don't know what a woman is, and then the next thing out of your mouth is like, hey, did you go to that new pizza joint? They have good pizza. I'll be like, I don't believe you. I think that you're so stupid that there is nothing you can say that I will take with any value ever again, right? You don't know what a woman is. So why do I trust your taste on what slice of pie is good at this place? Just shut up. You're worthless to me now, That's honestly how I feel.
I like that. That's a good point. First of all, I don't hang around people who don't know what the hell a woman is, okay? But I do see people on internet that don't know, that they know, but they just don't want to say it because they'll take a big L for their team and they'll get caught up in their hypocrisy and their blatant lies.
Well, listen, Destiny got banned, right? Destiny claims that he is non-binary. That's his claim, right? Now, according to the logic of the left, what makes a woman? Well, if you say you're a woman. So Destiny says he's not a man or a woman. That makes Destiny trans, according to their own definition. So am I allowed to assume?
How's that work? You're educating me because I tune out. I don't, like I said, in my real life, I don't deal with these people. They're mentally deranged. But also on the internet, I'm so caught up in other people and sensible liberals that I did not know that non-binary was also trans. I didn't know that. So
it's basically part of the truth. So I don't know if they would technically say it's the exact same thing as trans, because trans would technically mean transitioning sex, right? Non-binary is a form. It's a form of that.
What is non-binary? Non-binary means you don't claim to be a man or a woman, right?
Correct.
But I've seen some people, thanks to TikTok, thanks to the libs of TikTok. Shout out to the libs of TikTok on Twitter.
It's great.
I've seen some people many times say, "Well, I'm non-binary. Today I go by Zer, and then tomorrow I go by they them, and then on Friday I go by she her."
Yep.
So isn't that transing? You're transitioning from Zer to they, them to her, him, her, she, her. So that is transitioning because you're doing the trans thing based upon what you want, what pronouns you want to be called on that day, right?
Right. So it's in the trans community. It would be part of the T
I see
in
that.
the LGBT.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. So Destiny flat out admits the reason he claims to be non-binary is so that when the trans community comes for him, he says, well, hey, I'm part of you. You can't come at me. I'm allowed to talk about trans issues because I'm trans. So my point that I've been making today is Twitch is transphobic. They banned a trans person. Why are they banning trans people? Right. And just watch them. They like, there's so many things that make no sense with them. Like if you take them at face value, right? Well, man and a woman, those are just social constructs. And if you identify as a man, just because you have you were assigned the sex female birth, okay, let's say that's true. Then I don't want to hear you say things like women make 79 cents to the dollar that men do. How do you know? Did they ask every single person in that data set if they identified as men and women? And even if they did, isn't it true that from their own argument that people were afraid to come out as trans until like the late 2010s? So wouldn't that mean that if your data goes back to say 2005 and you have crime statistics that say men committed 90% of crime, well, how do you know? Did you ask all those men? Do you identify as a man? And even if they said yes, maybe it's because society pressured them to say yes, when really they identified as a man. So we have to throw out all of those studies. Right? Good. And when you say that, they just look at you. They're like, well, that's stupid. And,
no wonder you're shadow banned.
Yeah, right. You can't bring this. And I can't even talk about this shit on Twitch because as soon as you bring it. Now, is any of that. Did I say there, if you see a trans person, you should beat them up? No. Did I say you shouldn't sit at a dinner table? No, I'm not saying any of that. Right? I'm not saying it. I'm not being hateful whatsoever. I'm just telling the truth. And I'm showing how their logic, what the end result of it will be. And unfortunately, what you see is when you see the radical left speak up for these groups that they call victim groups and say, well, we have these radical prescriptions such as, women are vulnerable and we need to protect them. It always, at 100% of the time, their solutions harm that community more. Black Lives Matter, what's their solution? Defund the police. Who paid the price? It wasn't me in rural Pennsylvania.
Wasn't me neither.
Homicide rates didn't go up in my town. They went up in Detroit and Chicago and Philadelphia and Atlanta. And I tried to say, I'm like, I got called a racist because I would say this over and over. There'd be a bunch of white people that live in rural Pennsylvania here going, Rob, what's your problem with Black Lives Matter? Blah, blah, blah. So what? There's a little violence. It's worth it.
Fuck
I was like,
Black Lives Matter, dudes. Fuck that organization.
They're horrible. But here's the thing, right? I'm going to listen to a bunch of white people say, so you're okay with a bunch of rioters going into black neighborhoods and rioting. Why don't you tell them to come to your town? Have them come ride in your white town.
They're not going to do that.
Of course they won't.
And black people too stupid to sit up here and realize that they're fucking up their own neighborhoods.
And here's the thing, right? A lot of those people, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of black people that were involved in that rioting, but there were a lot of white people too.
Yeah.
So I'm against white people that don't live in inner city Minneapolis or Milwaukee going into Milwaukee and lighting fires. I'm against that, right? And that makes me the racist. If you're not for white people going into black neighborhoods and lighting fires in the name of protecting black people, then you're. It's like, do you hear yourself speak? And it's the same with the trans movement, right? Like the people the radical leftists that said that they were going to speak up for women, it's not me that's affected. If I want to start a league, if I want to start a baseball league, I'll be playing against men. But if you're a woman and you want to start a baseball league, well, thanks to the radical left that said you were a victim and needed protected, guess what? Now you get to play against a bunch of men too. And when you say, well, this sucks, what makes me special as a woman now? Sorry.
I told them they should have 3 divisions: XY division, XX division, and trans. Meaning that the trans women and the trans men compete against each other. You know what I'm saying? And let's see if the biological strength of men is really a social construct. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they know the answer. I mean, remember when, I don't know if you follow this story, John McEnroe, he was a famous tennis player, and he got in a bunch of shit because he was on some show and they were talking about how great Serena and Venus Williams.
Yes. Okay, I know the story. Yeah.
And he just mentioned was like, she would get crushed by any man in like the top 500. In fact, she has. And they like kept shitting on him for saying an obvious truth. Now listen, that takes, like, I'll say some good words about Serena Williams here, right? Like, Serena Williams is not only the best female tennis player that's ever lived, she would crush most men just not men at the top of their game like
Right.
her. And she got pregnant and had a baby and came back and was a dominant player. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, that's an incredible
Even
achievement.
with some health scares she had.
That's right. But you don't have to lie. You don't have to pretend she's Superman. You can say, yeah, but still, she would lose. And here's the thing. When they force you, this is one of the most important steps towards tyranny. When they make you tell obvious lies, that's when they know they have you. And so when, we got this girl, this transgender girl, this Leah Thomas or whatever her name is, that's breaking all these records swimming, right? And we all have to be like, yay, woo, that's great. I don't see anything wrong with that's like how they expect everyone. And it's just like no, it's the emperor has no clothes.
And they got a nerve to take a biological man like Leah Thomas and then put some, they Photoshop, his face. You know what I'm saying?
And here's the thing. Let me be straight up. It's shitty as it is to all those women, and it is, that are losing out because of this, that spent their entire lives training for this moment, only to have someone with a huge advantage over them just come in and dominate. It's also shitty to Leah Thomas. You want to know why?
Yeah,
because
why?
This movement will eventually pass, and she's going to be a fucking joke. She's going to be a punchline for comedians the rest of her life. That's what she's going to be. And no one set her aside and was like, you know what? Just don't do this. Just don't do it. You want to transition? Fine, transition.
You don't think Leah Thomas don't realize that they're going to be the punching bag, that they knew that they was going to come in this and going to be, because I swear to God, if I was to see that person in person, you know what I'm saying, I would actually just come up and just remind them they have a penis in their pants. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but here's the thing. They're not. No, they don't look at it like that. I am 99% sure Leah Thomas right now thinks that she's Rosa Parks. She thinks that she's a hero.
What an insult. And I was like, and I went after the black community. I'm like, y'all gonna let this person say that about Rosa Parks? Y'all not gonna be outraged? Y'all not gonna sit up here and daggone protest and daggone like cancel them? Y'all gonna let this happen? But I'm not part of, like, I have divorced the black community a long time ago. I just clown them for stupidity like that without you. I was like, y'all must be afraid, you know what I'm saying, of the left. And they got you. They are your real masses because you didn't sit up here and cut. Imagine if Trump Jr. said that. Ivanka. Imagine if Ivanka said she's a Rosa Parks. They will come after her with pitchforks and torches, and they would just basically be ready to cancel Ivanka Trump immediately.
Listen, don't you know white men are so great? We're the best black women as well.
Hello.
That's how great we are. We're kicking ass everywhere, man. We got tired of being the best white men. Now we're going to branch out. They said the other day, it was the Washington Post was like, we should celebrate him, or her, even more than Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson, a man who got death threats his entire fucking career, who not only broke the color barrier in baseball, but aside from, here's the thing about Jackie Robinson. It wasn't just he was a really good black baseball player. He was a really good baseball player.
Yeah.
Who had to deal with all of this bullshit, right? What's Leah Thomas dealing with, right? Every major institution is treating her like the
mainstream media, you know what I'm saying, is on that
media,
person's side.
Media. And so I think that someday, to me, I know I'm looking at it differently, saying in a weird way I feel bad for, but
I don't feel bad.
I remember watching this Joe Rogan once, and this comedian I like, Doug Stanhope, he's kind of friends with Johnny Depp. And he was Joe Rogan's like, Johnny Depp's kind of losing his mind. And Joe Rogan started to talk. He's like, dude, after those Pirates movies came out, like Johnny Depp could not, it was like he was like in the Beatles. He couldn't show his face without people he was the most popular guy. Couldn't go out with his family. Couldn't go out with his kids. Oh. He's just being, Dave Chappelle talks about this too. Dave Chappelle.
They're having a Dave Chappelle. Everybody kept saying, say I'm Rick James, bitch, everywhere.
Right. With his kids and shit. It's like, yelling the N-word and stuff. And he's like, dude, I'm with my kids.
Yeah.
I think, and one of the things they talked about is, what's lucky? People talk about privilege all the time. You want to know a privilege that I have, and I guarantee you have it? If we say something stupid, our friends and family are going to be like, that's pretty fucking stupid. What are you talking about? That's actually a good thing. That's
Yeah.
how you check yourself. But if you have everyone around you buying into your bullshit constantly, it makes you a weird person. It just does. And that's what happens to so many of these celebrities, because everyone's trying to get something from them. And so they just go, oh yeah, you're the best. You're the best. And then all of a sudden you hear Ben Affleck, on Bill Maher's show, making an ass of himself, talking about ISIS. Like, that's racist. You can't talk about ISIS. It's like, you don't know the
gross,
first thing.
man. That's racist.
Yeah, that's right. And it's like, no one ever said that guy down and was like, Ben, tremendous actor. You've written some good screenplays. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about with religion or politics. Please shut your mouth. You don't know, right? And no one set him down and was like, that's stupid. Instead, they were like, oh, that's great, Mr. Affleck. Great point. Yeah, that's fantastic. Then the guy goes in public and makes an ass. To me, I see a lot of that in, Greta Thunberg. That's another one. Greta's going to wake up someday and be 30 and 40 and realize someday, oh, I was just used as a pawn. No one actually believed that I was smart. No one actually believed in the shit I was saying. I was just a convenient pawn for them at the time. And that's so many of these people on the left, like, the hell with Black Lives Matter, the leadership, but I'm not naive. There are real problems in the Black community in a lot of these inner cities, and I'm sure they deal with asshole cops and stuff. I've dealt with some in my life, so I don't begrudge people.
Stop resisting arrest. Stop committing crime. Okay, that will solve about a good 95% of the situations with them and police officers.
Yeah, but I understand people wanting to group together and talk about the issue. That's not a problem, right? Yeah. But what I tell them is, it's like, not the leadership. The leadership's corrupt. They knew exactly what they're doing. But just the person that you might be friends with that went to a Black Lives Matter rally. When I tell them, I was like, you shouldn't vote for Joe Biden. And you want to know why? Because as soon as he wins, you are completely irrelevant. They're not going to give a shit when they're in power and the Black community goes, hey, wait a minute, shit's still really bad in our city.
It's gotten worse. Gonna get better.
Right, well, it is worse, right? And so they're going to say, excuse me, Democrats, Mr. Biden, we went out like we were told and we voted for you and things didn't get better. In fact, they got worse. You think Joe Biden and them are going to tolerate mass civil disobedience against Biden? You think that they'll tolerate them attacking the White House? Not a chance. And so you at least, and as cynical as this is to say, at least if Trump would have won, the whole mainstream media would have pretended to give a shit about Black Lives Matter for another 4 years.
Right.
They would have said, oh my God, this is such an important cause. But now that Biden won, guess what, Black people? Tough shit. We're not going to talk about you till election time again. That's the reality.
Black people deal with that. They always deal with that. That's what I'm saying. It's a joke. And you know what? After being ignored, after being put in a worse position now under Biden with the whole defund the police, and now crime has escalated big time, okay? And also many of them lost their jobs because of the vaccine mandates that were basically pushed in most predominantly blue cities. They are now in a worse position now than and let's not forget the gas prices going up, the empty shelves. They're so tribal, they will still vote for whoever has a D by their name come 2024. For the majority part, let me just say some of them are waking up. For the majority part, they will still vote for somebody with the D by their name because they consider anybody with an R by their name to be racist.
Right. Now, here's the good news, right? The Democrats, in order to win nationally, right, they need to have like 90% of the Black vote. And there are a lot of Black people.
They're not going to get 90% of the vote.
Well, right. And here's the thing. I'm not going to bullshit. If you're out there and you're a Black person that's voted Democrat your whole life and you're like, wait a minute, what have they done? I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. The Republicans haven't done shit for you either. Right?
True.
But at least
what I hate about the Republicans, because I don't know if you know this about me, I was against Trump doing this political identity bullshit and talking about something. Let's have the Black people. Look at my Black friend over there. Look at my Black friend over there. I hated that shit. I hated him trying to cater to the Black community. I hated him trying to woo them over. I hated that bullshit. You got gays for Trump, Blacks for Trump, Hispanic for Trump, women for Trump, drags for Trump, gays for Trump. I hated that bullshit. He brought that over onto our side. So and then after all that wooing, and then he did the the First Right Act, and all this other shit. And then let's not forget the black people he got out of the China jail when LeVar Ball's son go over there and start stealing. He get those Negroes out of jail and they don't even thank him. So I'm like,
right.
I hate that about Trump, and I criticize the shit out of him for that because he's so thirsty for black approval.
Well, and that's Ivanka and Jared Kushner. They're the ones
you
that
think
were
that's
like,
them doing that?
Oh yeah, that's like all the stuff that I've read like behind the scenes was that like the whole sentence reform and
stupid. You're gonna do sentence reform before you do education reform. Dumb. That's just so dumb.
So, but there are stupid I ran for Congress, right, as a Republican in 2019.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I did in a special election. Spoiler alert: I didn't win.
Okay.
Okay. But and then I volunteered for Trump's campaign, and I was offered a job from Trump's campaign in Pennsylvania. And when I was on the phone, I'm talking to like not Trump, but his head team in Pennsylvania. And so I'm on the phone with like 4 other people that they're going to put us in charge of these counties. And I was like, I finally got to ask a question. I was like, what are we doing to reach out to communities that don't traditionally vote Republican? And they're like who? And I was like, single mothers, black people, young people, and they said to me, oh, we just go after low-hanging fruit. So we're not really reaching out to those communities. And so this is a constant battle I have with the Republicans. It's like, if you don't talk to these people, they're not going to vote for you. And then when you say that to them, what's their gut reaction? Oh, we'll pander to them as black people. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, you don't have to change what you believe in. I believe that my political ideology is best for almost everyone. That counts if you're gay, if you're black, if you're a man, if you're Republican, if you're Democrat, if you're old, or if you're young. I don't have to change what I believe because, I'm talking to a black person now. Let me see. What am I supposed to say to you? Now, you're
supposed to say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, man.
That's right. That's how you do it. Yeah. Biden's got that nailed. Black people could be poor people could be just as smart as white people.
As white people.
Like said, but, we all change how we talk stylistically. If I'm talking to my wife's grandparents, I'm not going to swear. I'm going to sound more soft, right? But I am who I am. And I hate this idea in politics that you pander to someone. No, you just tell them what you believe. And if they choose not to vote for you, that's fine. But so there's this, to me, it's not a fine line. It's the obvious way between, we're just not going to talk to black people because they won't vote for us, or, they're black. They're different than everyone else. Those crazy black people, they all think alike. And we have to say, like Hillary Clinton, I have hot sauce in my This is bullshit. It's just bullshit. They're human beings. One of the things I saw that was going on during the George Floyd shit that I'd never seen before, I thought was awesome, was an interview with Tupac on 60 Minutes or something.
Yeah.
And he was like, you want to know what the black community wants? You want to know what my mom wants? The same thing that the white community. She's worried about her son getting mixed up in violence. She wants her house to be safe and secure. She wants a job. Yes, that's exactly right. We assume that, well, not me, but there's this assumption all black people want the same thing. And my governor, Tom Wolf, said there's 2 Pennsylvanias, one for white people and one for black people. No, there's not. And you're pandering to the black people is not only an insult to everyone by calling them racist, but it's an insult to black people, pretending that you have to talk down to them. That's bullshit, bigotry, racism. You treat everyone as an individual. Now, you understand that we all come from different backgrounds.
Well, the Democrats do that. They're accustomed to it, though.
That's all they know. And so, for example, me and you, there are probably massively different things in our background. And race is probably one of the least important ones.
True.
There's probably just, there's a million different ways to look at people as unique individuals. But instead we put all this focus on race, and the more focus you put on it, the worse it gets.
Right.
It's just stupid. It's
right.
just, and it's part and parcel to who the Democrats are. The reason that they need to put you as a group and say that some people are victims, and the reason they need to rely on censorship is because they don't have any good plans. Nobody that relies on censorship has ideas that are worth a shit.
Right.
If you have ideas that are worth a shit, you're not the radical trans community crying to Twitch, please ban these people, please ban them. You want them banned because you realize what they're saying you have no answer for. So you're like, just get them banned. I can't deal with what they're saying.
Yeah.
I don't like the left, but I'm not calling for them to be banned. Go
right.
ahead.
Me neither.
Me neither.
Because they're soft. They only know to deplatform you because they don't have any arguments to basically shut you down.
That's exactly right. So yeah, I see the writing on the wall for Twitch. YouTube, I'll get banned on too. I'm trying to stream to D Live and Odyssey.
D Live, Odyssey, and Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble. I'm having trouble with my account. I need them to reset my password, but eventually I'll get to that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's just. I mean, what a sad. I mean, to me, it's an amazing. Like, despite the fact I sound like I'm a very angry guy, I'm happy as shit. I'm
No, you don't sound angry. You sound passionate.
That's the word. And I'm loud, but I'm very happy. And I love. For me, this is cathartic, man. I come on here and get passionate about this stuff. Then when I'm hanging out with my family, it's like I don't have to talk about this stuff. I talk about family stuff. It's great. But one of the things that you could just see how unhappy so many of these people on the left are. They're miserable.
And misery loves company.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Well said. That's absolutely what it is. They want to drag everyone. They want everyone to be as miserable as you. And I can't tell you how many communists I've talked to and debated that I'll just ask these little questions that it just blows your mind. I'll say things like this. Isn't this basically the greatest time to be alive? And they'll be like, whoa, what do you mean? And I'll be like, like all the convenience we have, the standard of living, like, the average life expectancy. Like, basically, the past 60 years of human existence have been so much more incredible than the rest. Like, you understand that if you just go back to, like, the early 20th century, like 1910, 1920, what life was like for the average person? Do you understand what it was like? And they have no clue. They want to tear it down.
I know. I've seen the video footage.
Yeah, and
I've heard the stories.
Yeah, and they want to tear it down because they think, well, I'm miserable, so who gives a shit?
Right.
Let's just tear it down.
Right.
And to me, it's amazing. It's like, you don't have to be miserable. I don't care what position you're in. There's always, find some friends.
Right.
Find family to connect to. Personally grow. Do something to personally grow.
Right.
Instead, you're going to come on here and you're like, what I'm going to do? I'm going to shit on other people. I'm going to demand their channel be removed. I'm going to sit here and act like I'm morally superior to people. And then you got, and that's why, I can't even really knock the people like, I don't know if you know who Hassan is.
Yes, of course I know who Hassan is.
You can't really knock him. I mean, he's a con artist.
He's a multimillionaire because of the grift he has done. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You kind of, it's like the guy, you go to the street corner and the guy hustling 3-card money. You're like, it is impressive.
Right.
It's pity that he's scamming all these people out of money. But hey, if they're dumb enough, that's how I feel about Hassan. It's like, imagine this. I'm a socialist. I think that we need to help the poorest people, and that's what I believe.
Yeah,
I'm a socialist.
remember he's like, first he was against millionaires, all right? And then when he became one, you don't hear him talk about that no more. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But I'm talking like, imagine his fans. I believe that we need to help the poor people. So here's what I'm going to do. I scraped together $10 this month, and instead of giving it to my local soup kitchen,
I'm going to give it to this rich-ass, spoiled-ass idiot on Twitch.
It's the funniest shit. Now, you might say, but Rob, don't people donate to you? Right, I'm a capitalist. You're not hearing any of that bullshit.
No, we're not. What did it say, tax the rich? We don't have shirts that says tax the rich and down with capitalism, okay? This fool is an actual icon for capitalism. He shows you how capitalism works.
Yep.
And his $1 million mansion. And I heard, you know what? I'm very tall. How the hell? And he's tall. He's about 3 inches taller than me. How the hell did he get his tall ass in a fucking Porsche?
Maybe he had it custom made.
He had to have it custom made. I can't fit into no Porsche because he's 6'6". And I'm like, how the hell did he get in? As a tall woman, I don't want no short car like that.
And what's great about him is, you'd be like, what's his brand? Like, what's, finally, there's so if I'm on the left, I'm like, I'm looking for someone that I think kind of shares my beliefs and articulates them in a great way. And he's smarter than other people. And, he could argue these beliefs. I mean, the guy doesn't do debate. The guy doesn't interact with anyone that disagrees with him.
He looks like an idiot every time.
That's right. He is.
Did you see Herschel Walker's son go over there?
Yeah.
Herschel Walker's son wasn't even trying to debate him and made him look like an idiot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. What's his name? Christian. Yeah. I mean,
Christian.
That's a smart
his
dude.
name is Christian Walker.
Christian
and I'm like, holy shit. How
they can't, again, they don't have to be talented. I mean, this is one thing that I think's amazing I understand the corruption. Corruption's easy to understand. I see the corruption in our FBI, in our media, in our politics. I see that. But one of the things that I forget that you constantly need to be reminded is just how incompetent they all are.
Right.
As well.
Right.
In addition, so when you see like Jen Psaki or like Joe Biden's the best example. Like when someone actually asks Joe Biden like a question, he has no idea what to do.
He'll get mad at you and start snapping pissed at you. Yeah.
And the reason he's pissed is what he's saying is this. Don't you know the game? You're not supposed to ask me questions, right? You're here to be my cheerleader. How dare you break your role? You're not, you know the deal. You don't ask me. If you have a question, submit it to my team. They'll write back to you in private. But when you're here in public, you act as my cheerleader. How dare you go against? And so all of these people, it's another thing. We talked about this, like kind of the idea of privilege. I've been sort of, I guess, conservative. I've been anti-establishment my entire life, right? So all through college, when I'm in the debate circuit, I was probably the most right-wing person in entire college debate. If you voted for Obama, they considered you a right-winger. Like they are radical left-wingers, right? And I mean, it's just insane. I mean, it's insane. The shit you're seeing now in college campuses, I was seeing in 2003. Like little things like you'd walk into a room and they'd be like, why haven't you acknowledged your privilege as a white man? You should forfeit this round as a white man.
Has it been going on that long?
Oh, in the debate community it has, right? And so those people then matriculated into being professors and lawyers and politicians. And now the next generation, and debate's probably even more insane now, but it's matriculated into average college. But when you dealt with these insane opinions, you know, what I learned to do was you would learn to play that game inside it, right? And how you could play that game and one of the things I talked about when they would talk about privilege all the time is I actually am privileged. And you want to know what my privilege is?
What?
That every opinion I had for 5 years while I was in debate was challenged by everyone. Every single one. If I said, I think we should vote for Ron Paul. What the fuck are you, Ron Paul? Blah, 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 blah. Here's 50 reasons Ron Paul's bad. So then I'd have to listen to them and say, okay, let me respond to these reasons. But so many of these left-wingers, they've gone through elementary school being indoctrinated, went through high school being indoctrinated, go through college being indoctrinated, and then all of a sudden they walk out into the real world and they they don't know how to handle someone disagreeing with them. They just have no idea what to say. Whereas someone like me and you, it's like if someone disagrees, we're like, great, that's normal. People have disagreed with us our whole life. Great, we know how to deal with it. You can deal with it like a human being that doesn't just break down and scream at the sky like they did when Trump got elected. They just don't, and it's not just the average left-winger, it's the people in positions of power. That's why Joe Biden's challenging people to push-up contests, calling them dog-faced pony soldiers when they ask him a question, because he's not used to it. He's used to everyone just like clapping like seals, like, yay, Biden, you're the best. You're the best. Yeah, we'll forget all the racist shit you say all the time and pretend like you're a black leader. You know, it's unbelievable.
You know what? Hold on. Hold on. I know we got about 15 more minutes. Hold on. Okay. I want to practice because there's nobody. It's on YouTube. A lot of the lefties are not. They don't come in debate. The last debate I had is with a woman who supported Ukraine, and it wasn't fair. You know what I'm saying? I was explaining to her why Russia was justified in invading Ukraine, and she didn't even know that Ukraine had neo-Nazis. That's how bad it was. So I really didn't. I felt that was just unfair. But you said you support marijuana, right? Mm-hmm. That's not a hill I die on, but I want to practice. I'm going to be anti-marijuana.
Okay.
Right? Anti-legalized marijuana. And then you're going to be pro-marijuana. So my statement in reference to you being pro legalized marijuana is that wouldn't that make it more dangerous? As I don't know if you know this or not, and you could research it. It happened during spring break last week, where some West Point students were hospitalized because the marijuana they purchased from someone was laced with fentanyl. And then the people who provided CPR to them also were put in the hospital because they got the contact from the fentanyl. So it was 2 people who smoked laced marijuana with fentanyl, and then the 2 people who tried to give them CPR also got the second contact. My question to you is that if we were to legalize it, would occurrences like that be more profound or more popular? Would it escalate?
I can't say definitely not, but I would say probably not. And here's why, right? You could make the same sort of arguments when we had prohibition for alcohol.
For alcohol,
So
okay.
people were making bootleg gin and stuff, but the problem was they're putting all kinds of crazy shit in it. And people were going blind and stuff like that. Once something's legalized, then you could have, which I'm against some of this anyways, but theoretically then the government's able to regulate and make sure that the product you're selling is safe for consumption, right? So if you legalize marijuana, one of the things that will happen is entrepreneurs that are able to then produce it legally and will have to follow government regulations about it are going to be able to outproduce and outsell the people that are producing it illegally. Now, marijuana is a little different in that any moron could grow it themselves,
right?
At least a limited quantity.
Yeah.
But you can't really stop people from ingesting stupid shit themselves. But legalizing marijuana, one of the first things it would do would be severely limit sort of the Mexican drug cartels, because they make so much money because marijuana is illegal. They then corner the market on it. If it was legal for recreational use around the country, instead of it would be like, instead of some Pablo Escobar or El Chapo, instead it would be Jeff Bezos or someone that would be selling you your weed, which fuck him anyways. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm for that guy. But what I mean is there would be more public accountability for it. And in general, my position is that I used to be almost totally libertarian on this stuff.
Okay.
But I think what I realize now is there clearly is a time where we have to say that there is such an obvious chance for you consuming something that will be detrimental to society that we as a society have a right to say that it should be illegal. So, for example, old me would have said, as long as you're not hurting someone, take whatever you want. You want to smoke crack in your own house? Have at her. But once you get behind the wheel and hurt someone else, that's different. The problem is we understand, because the experiment's been done over and over again, that if you use crack, the chance of you harming I don't care if you harm yourself, but the chance of you harming. So then the question becomes, well, once we accept that, what's the threshold, right? Because if you go too far down this rabbit hole, here's what ends up happening. You go, well, not only should we ban marijuana, we should ban alcohol, and we should ban sugary beverages.
Yeah, okay, you got a good point, because I will concede that marijuana is not going to come and make you break into your mama's house to steal her furniture so you can sell some of it to get crack. Okay, marijuana it doesn't do that to you. So I would say, that's what I'm saying. Marijuana is not a hill I would die on, because I do have some friends from the military who actually use marijuana for their PTSD, and it works. So yeah.
And listen, and here's the thing. I'm not a big weed head. I'm not going to say I've never smoked weed. I'm not going to say I haven't done harder drugs. I have, right? But here's the thing. I'm not someone that's saying this from a position of, oh, thank God, now I can finally, when I'm token up every day. I haven't smoked weed years and years and years and years. So I don't have skin in the game, right?
Yeah.
And I hate the weed heads that just like, hey man, weed makes everything better. I wake fuck yourself. They're so annoying, right? But there is no doubt that some of the stuff that weed can treat, such as chronic pain, PTSD, a lot of people that are on medications like chemotherapy and stuff say that marijuana.
It is very good for people who have on chemotherapy. I forgot about that. It's a good
point.
Right.
I won't say this person's name, but someone very dear to me has dealt with about 12 back surgeries in their life and has gone through chronic pain basically the entire time I've known them. And they absolutely hated pain pills, because pain pills like Vicodin and things like that made them feel terrible.
Yeah.
That weird feeling you get. So they just suffered through pain trying to take Advil or ibuprofen and stuff like that. Finally, about 10 years into me knowing them, they tried marijuana and said that it's incredible. Just smoking a little, not to get high, but just smoking a little before bed, they get a full night's sleep finally.
Yeah.
And it's very strange that we find it socially acceptable to say that you can take these opioids that doctors are getting incredibly rich. By the way, and that's where a lot of the fentanyl stuff comes from.
Yeah,
we put people on these opioids. So,
but I thought the cartel was really majorly focusing on opioids. Yeah. And heroin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so. I mean, you look at something like the NFL, and it's like they'll let them take like cortisone shots and stuff in their knee and get back out there at halftime. But if they get caught smoking a weed in the ice, or smoking a joint in the ice bath after the game, oh, sorry, you're suspended for 40. It's just stupid, you know. And I do prioritize liberty up to a point, though. Like we have to acknowledge that there's a point where it's like you can't just have people shooting up while they're driving down the road with a bus full of kids. You know, you can't do it, no matter what the libertarians want to tell you. So we could all have reasonable disagreements on where we draw that line. But for me, I just think with marijuana, like alcohol is probably a net worse in every way, and I'm totally for alcohol remaining legal. So why wouldn't I?
Yeah, you got a good point. Like I said, that's a very good point. And like I said, I think, and like I said, if it wasn't for my friend who suffered from, you know, PTSD, he's such a different person now that he uses marijuana. I think I would. It's not a hard thing I'm against. I just was wondering, like, well, I saw, because I do the news, I go through news all the time, and I saw this with the West Point. Now, of course, they're going to get kicked out because you go down to spring break and then smoke weed. Like, what was a dumb thing for them to do? They just ruined their entire career from that.
Right.
So that was what I was showing people. Like, you know, you go into Miami and you're buying marijuana from a drug dealer you don't know, and he laces it with fentanyl.
It's crazy.
Things.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I have told, I live in Pennsylvania, and you could get, for various medical reasons now, you could get a marijuana card where you could go to a dispensary and buy legal marijuana. And I have told people that I know that smoke a lot of weed, like, how do you know what's in the shit you're smoking?
You don't.
Like, how do you know? You don't.
Yeah.
At least if you're getting it from this dispensary and you have a reaction, you know exactly where to go.
Right.
Like,
right.
That I got it from this place. It could be investigated. So I was like, why not get your card? Like, if you're suffering, and many of the people I'm talking about are suffering from epilepsy or PTSD or chronic pain. So it's like, just go get your card. But I'm the type of person, I'm not just saying legalize it for medical reason. I say legalize it.
Right.
For recreation, I don't care.
Okay, yeah.
You know, now listen, if you want to say, I'm open to hearing this discussion, okay, fine. But if you legalize it and then you commit a crime under the influence of it, the penalty should be even harsher than it currently is. I could be persuaded by that. You know, if you're taking care of kids and you're negligent because you were high.
I think you are I don't know about other states, but in Georgia, if you get in a car accident and you cause someone's death and you're high, that's just the same as you're being drunk under the influence. You know,
maybe it should be worse, right? And maybe. You know, because we need to discourage. The lesson needs to be, if you want to harm yourself or potentially harm yourself, fine. But as soon as you, through these actions, predictably harm someone else, and that's why, you know, DUI laws I find acceptable because, you know, there's the libertarian arguments like, hey, if you can drive good drunk, who cares? It's only when you hurt someone that it matters. Well, yes, but we've ran the experiment over and over to see that there's obvious impairment. And so, you know, it's like, if you drive a car without brakes and then you hurt someone, you knew that you were liable to hurt someone and you still did it. So it's an interesting argument. Again, it's not something that I die on either. I would be more interested.
I got another one. This is going to be a fun one, right? This is going to be a fun one. I think the government should not interfere with marriage. I believe we should not have to get marriage licenses, and therefore. I know people are going to say, well, how do you deal with, you know, child support? That's whether you get married or not, you know, child support is still child support. That is limited government underneath as a right winger. So I hate the fact that you have to go get a marriage license in order to get married. I'm against that. I think it should be regulated underneath your religious organization. And if you're atheist, then you should be able to go through a, what do you call that? A non-denominational facility in order to get married. What say you?
Yeah, I basically agree with that. That's why a lot of right-wingers get mad at me that I support gay marriage because my first
I do too. Because I'm like, I don't think that I support. And people are like, well, you're supporting gay. Yeah, because I don't think the government should tell who you should marry.
That's
you
right.
See what I'm saying?
That's exactly how. If you're a consenting adult, I just don't give a shit about your sex.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
I don't care at all. Now I have my feelings on what I personally think is proper for me and for right. But as far as a legal background, it's irrelevant to me. You know, now I could play devil's advocate. There are some arguments on the other side of this. One, there's the argument my friend Andrew would make, which is, we have a duty to set our government up that will lead to a responsible culture. And if you allow just anyone to get married, such as LGBT issues, stuff like that, that it rots the culture out from the inside. There's potentially, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand.
But what is the difference? That's a very good argument. What is the difference between two men or two women living together that are not married, but they're living a marital life versus a heterosexual couple? What is the difference besides that one is legally married and the other? They're still living that married life. So what? Unless you're going to stop them from actually being together, living together, sharing the same responsibilities, and actually putting each other in their living will, what's the difference besides the fact that one is still living legally married and the other one is not, and that still does not, stopping it from being married does not stop what did he say? Repeat that again.
Cultural rot.
Isn't it still culturally rotten? The fact that they're living together.
Right, and that's sort of the argument. So I consider myself Christian in the most basic of sense, which I feel that Christ was the Son of God and I should emulate him. I don't really go to church. I'm not a scholar of the Bible. My understanding of it was this, that homosexuality was a sin for the same reason that premarital sex was a sin. For the same reason that oral sex would be a sin.
Yeah.
And that
believe it or not, people don't know that.
Right. It's because this is sexual gratification without kind of entering into a holy union for the purposes of procreation and things like that, right? So there's two things that goes in with that. Three really. There's the idea of God being part of your marriage. I can't really speak to that, right?
Right.
Then there's second, the idea of procreation. Okay, well, that's sort of a side argument we can talk about at a different time. But the third argument's monogamy, that you should be with one person for your life, right? Okay, well, given that, wouldn't it be true if that's one of the central issues, gay people are still going to sleep together, right? And so if, Bob and Tom are like, hey, we're gay and we met each other at a club and we've slept together 3 or 4 times, and you could either say, all right, in the future, they could continue to sleep with each other or a bunch of other people or just stay together as a couple. Wouldn't it be preferable for a culture to have them just stay together? And doesn't the institution of marriage kind of help facilitate that? So in that sense, you're not going to I think you're insane if you're trying to outlaw homosexuality. Even most people against gay marriage don't support that. Right. So you're not going to be for that. So at that point, wouldn't it be best to open that avenue up to at least, if your argument is culturally it would help the culture, even if you still say, I think that homosexuality is a sin. Surely as a culture, you would prefer monogamous people in gay relationships as opposed to just open gay relationships. So why wouldn't we allow gay marriage in that sense? That's part of the reason I think that as well.
Good, excellent point, because I do have some gay and lesbian and gay males who are conservative, and they hate the promiscuous behavior in the gay community, and that they do promote monogamy amongst themselves because this is the reason why they have the bathhouses and all the other kind of clubs, because it's just like just feeding into your lower self. And so I do applaud them for that, being monogamous and just basically living that conservative life, even though they're gay men.
Yeah, and I'll just say this real quick. Like it's listen, I have plenty of. You saw me on the Crucible. My friend Andrew that runs the Crucible. We've gone back and forth on this for hours. I have other friends that are conservatives. They hate my take on this, but fundamentally, I'll just say this at the end of the day. I have friends that are gay, that are in healthy monogamous relationships, that are in some of the happiest relationships that I see, that genuinely are in love with the person they're with, and I'm not going to shit on that. Right. I'm not. Right. And if it's a sin, then God will deal with it.
Right.
But if for me as a person, I'm friends with those people, I'm happy that they found, it's hard enough to find a meaningful relationship in this world.
True.
So good for them. And I don't, like you said, I don't think the government should be involved in marriage anyways. But if it's going to be, it has no right to discriminate based on people's sexual orientation. That's the way I see it.
Right. Wow. This has been, okay, I got to bring you on again.
I'd love to. It was a lot of fun.
This was great. Oh, my goodness. This was really great. And I was excited. I may not act like I was excited on the email because I'm very, very busy. As you can see, it's like, I'm back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm a one-woman show. Plus, I also run my website because I'm trying to get everybody, I'm not trying, I'm doing a good job getting people off of these other platforms and come to my website. You know what I'm saying? So, that's a lot of work in itself.
Are you able to, if you don't mind me asking real quick, are you able to stream directly to that website?
Yeah, I am. You have you just have to have a streaming app on there. If you need me to give you this information, I can.
Yeah,
but,
maybe I'll hit you up on email.
Absolutely.
Because I
have no problem sharing it because it took me a while to actually get all of this, because I had to find how to do it. It's not, I have to admit that the left, and I've said this to the right all the time, I said the right has allowed the left to monopolize the entire way of being independent. Like Destiny is the first person to actually have his website set up that no matter where he's banned, he still has his chat. He still has his community, and even if he's banned on Twitch, he can still stream on YouTube. And if he gets banned on YouTube, he has another platform. Now, I saw that debate between him and Nick Fuentes, and Fuentes invited him to Cozy TV.
That's funny. Hey, good move. Look, here's the deal. I don't agree with everything Fuentes says, but
I don't agree with most of the things Fuentes said. Unfortunately, we Fuentes and I are on the same team when it comes to the whole Russia thing, so we got that in common. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, it's enough. There are certain people, even if you disagree with, you can acknowledge they're intelligent people.
Yeah.
Like I disagree with a lot of Destiny's takes. Destiny's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He's entertaining, and he puts his opinions out in a way that average people can understand in an intelligent way. Nick's the same way.
Yeah.
He's like that, and I hope that I'm the same way, coming from a different angle,
Yeah, you are, actually.
That's what's worth, but to me, like, you're just a fool if you can't acknowledge when you see someone that's like, oh, they're doing, even if I disagree with them, I understand why people watch them. I understand, and it's a very, I think that a lot of the people that follow Nick are stupid, and certainly a lot of the people that follow Destiny are childish morons, but that's not on them, and that's a shrewd move of Nick, right? Why don't you come over to Cozy? Smart. It's a very smart move.
I hope Destiny don't take him up on his offer.
He won't. There's no way he will, but it's funny to ask.
It is funny to ask. And this was done before he got banned. That was what's so funny about it. He said, if anything you want, you can come on over to Cozy. And then Destiny said, well, if I get banned on Twitch, we'll see. And boom, he gets banned on Twitch. So I'm like, oh my God, this shit is you couldn't even write a script that's just as funny. You know what I'm saying? It's really
even
hilarious.
With them, though, I've debated Richard Spencer. I've debated, white nationalist. I've debated, the Groypers.
Hold on, when did you debate Richard Spencer? Because I had a debate with him too.
Oh, did you? 2-3 months ago.
Okay, I'm gonna go check that. Where is that?
Yeah, it should. It's not on YouTube. You would have to go to the Crucible.
The same one where I saw you and JF. Right.
It'll be on there.
I'll go
It'll
check
be on
that
their
out.
Twitch channel probably. But here's the thing: if you talk, and I believe this, I bet you believe it. And even if you talk to someone like Destiny that's on the left, I bet if you talk to them, they would tell you this. The left is far, far worse. They're far more rabid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to lose your channel. Oh, probably not going to lose your channel because a bunch of right-wingers decided to report you. It's always the left. And for Destiny, unfortunately, who I think has some terrible positions, and he's on the left, and I disagree with those terrible positions. Unfortunately for him, to the insane radical left, he might as well be Richard Spencer.
Yeah.
He might as well be me or you.
Isn't that
because
silly?
They look at it as if you don't agree with everything we say, you're an evil right-winger, and we could do anything we want to you, and it's justified. And so he's finding that out. And, I could dislike Destiny's positions all I want, or anyone else for that matter. I ain't trying to get them kicked off. And, I just think it's a shame that that radical left community, that's how they think that they'll be able to win. And it will, if you're out there and you're like, this sucks, it's unfair, it will bite them in the ass. I guarantee it. It will come for them. They will be canceled by the same mechanisms that they are using now. And we will be there to laugh at their stupid asses when it happens. And they're not talented and they're not self-sufficient. So it's coming.
I have a different take on what's coming for them. Karma will get you.
Yep.
And these people are not equipped to handle hard times. Because of what we have done to Russia, Russia now is demanding that you pay gas in rubles. Ukraine and Russia are people saying that Russia is the gas company as a gas company with nukes. Well, they also have a lot of wheat, but also Ukraine is the bread company as well as Russia. Biden just was over there and at the World Summit, and he had admitted that later on this year, we're about to come through some hard times in reference to food shortages. These people will put a gun to their head if they cannot have their macchiato latte from Starbucks, and they don't eat right as it is anyway. So to find out that they can't get that a Big Mac now costs $20, or their fries are costing $10, and they can't. But then again, if they got it in demand, we're going to go start. There's a possibility. I don't know if it's going to get this bad, but it sounds like it, that now they're going to, if food shortages get so bad that they're going to have food rationing, these people are going to take themselves out. And so that is the karma. That's the karma that's coming for them.
Listen, I don't disagree. I'll say this. I don't wish that on anyone. I don't like Biden. I don't. I hope that tomorrow he pulls it out. I hope that somehow he has a conversation with Putin and Zelensky and they come to a peaceful solution, and that all of a sudden both countries start thriving and the United States starts thriving and the economy is doing great and everyone gets badass jobs and we all own it. That'd be great. That's what I want, right? But I'm also realistic. It's not going to happen, right?
No.
I'll cheer for the United States always. No matter who's running it. I love this country. I think it's the greatest country. I love my country. But when I look at that crippled, child sniffing, pooping in the pants, dementia bastard who's just struggling when he walking and need a handler everywhere he's going, I look and I said, holy shit, we are so in trouble. I can't stand out and have my chest out and be like, yeah, America. And then I see this fool in the Oval Office. Yeah. No, you're right. But I'll just say that. So I don't disagree with what you said about what's coming for the cities. I don't wish it on them. I don't. But here's the thing, right? I've grown up in rural Pennsylvania my whole life.
You are okay. You're going to be fine.
That's right. People that live like me have been mocked for years, for decades. We've been mocked. Our economy hasn't been that great. But here's the thing. When shit hits the fan, every single person in this community will come together to make sure that every single person has food. Like those people in the city, they will step on your back to get to the Starbucks. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And
once they do the grocery, because what's going to happen is they're going to start looting the grocery stores, and the grocery store is going to close down. Then where are they going to go? That's when the food shortage start coming up. They're going to make it worse, because it's just like when a time when everybody's losing their shit over toilet paper. Imagine that with bread. Imagine that with noodles. Imagine. And
I hope it doesn't.
Food.
I just want to be clear. I hope that it doesn't happen. I'm not saying good. I hope that. I'm not saying that. No. I'm just saying that those people that were so
I don't want it to happen either. I'm just saying it looks like it's going to happen.
They stood on their ivory towers, and they stood in these big cities where the people thought that we're so much better than these people in flyover country. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when the chips are down. I don't know. None of us have a guarantee on anything in life, right? We could end this show tonight. I got to go get milk. God forbid I could have a heart attack on my way to get milk. It could happen, right? So I'm not saying anyone deserves this, that, and that. All I'm saying is this. I love my country. I love where I live. I love my family. I love rural America. That's what I love the most about this country. And I'm happy with where I'm at. I am. I'll keep fighting for it. I'll keep arguing against these stupid, corrupt assholes. But at the end of the day, I'm happy. And so if they're happy denigrating me and rural America and this, hey, I hope you never go through hard times. And if history's taught us one thing, hard times are always right around the corner. So good luck to you.
Absolutely.
I hope that the same people that couldn't handle a Trump presidency without freaking out and having PTSD, what are you going to do when you can't feed yourself or your family? We'll see. I wish you the best. I got
a funny feeling they're going to be begging for Trump.
No, it's anyone that can't see that this is a managed collapse that's designated to harm the middle and working class is such an idiot at this point. Like, you can't see it. And I'm just sitting there all the lockdowns, all the mass printing of money, the destroying our energy production, all the cheering for these foreign regime change wars. And you just look at it and you're like, I say this all the time. It's like every single time this is what they tell me. Well, you got to make more why is it that everything that they do requires the sacrificing of poor and working class people? It's never the Stephen Colbert will come on. I'll pay $15 a gallon for gas.
Yeah,
of course you will, asshole. You know,
he's so not in touch to say something so stupid like that. You're a multimillionaire. Of course, you can be. You okay with $15?
And I know we got to go, so I'll leave you with this, right? But again, going back to what we talked about, their stupidity. I'm not surprised that Stephen Colbert doesn't give a shit if I can't feed my family or drive to work. I knew that. I knew that's how those elites thought of me. What I'm shocked is they're so stupid they say it out loud. That's what shocks me, right? It's like no one pulled him aside. You're aware that show's taped, right? It's on a delay. No one pulled him aside and said, don't say that. That's a really fucking dumb, condescending thing to say. Or like, what's her name from Georgia? The real governor there. What the hell is her name? Stacey Abrams. She took that stupid-ass photo in front of all those kids without a mask. Like, I know she knows that the mask is bullshit. I know that she hates those kids and wants them to be forced to wear uncomfortable. I know all that. But no one pulled her aside and was like, can you just pretend to wear the mask for 3 seconds while we take the picture? No one pulled her aside and said that. Like, it's the stupidity and the arrogance. Because at this point, I know what those leaders think of me. I know they hate me. I get it. I'm not shocked by that anymore. But I'm constantly shocked that they don't give a fuck that I know.
Yeah.
You know, that they'll just come right out and say it. Yeah, like, to me, the best example, I don't know. I am completely against political violence. I don't know if I could have contained my shit if I was in the press conference where, what's her name? Mayor Beetlejuice there. And
Lori Lightfoot.
Yeah, Lightfoot, right? When she got caught early during the pandemic, she went to a hair salon, and she told everyone else they couldn't. And so they asked her about it in this press conference.
She's like, I have to be in front of the camera. Bitch, have you looked in the mirror lately?
But it was like, no, like how they didn't grab the pitchforks. Like she's like, hygiene's important to me. Fuck
it
you.
Don't look like it.
Well, not first.
With her Beetlejuice looking ass. Holy shit!
Like she doesn't. She looks at us like we're like animals in a zoo, right? It's like, oh, showering, bathing. That's a privilege for you. You can do that as long as we say. Now, for me, I have to do it because I'm one of the special people. And like when you hear them talk like this let them eat cake moment, it's not. I knew that they thought like that, right?
But for them to say the quiet part out loud is what's so funny.
That's what blows my mind. It's like, and you know, maybe the joke's on me. Maybe if I can talk to them, they're like, you know why we say the quiet part out loud? Because we know there's nothing you could do. We want you to know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what they think. But to me, it just comes off as either incredible arrogance or incredible stupidity. But either way, that's what half my show is, just being like, of course we know they hate us.
Yeah,
of course they hate children. Of course we know that they lock down children with no reason. But the fact that they're now announcing it out loud, like, of course we did it for the children. Like, they're laughing at you. That Garcetti, the mayor of LA, they catch him at the football game without a mask. He goes, but I was holding my breath. Holy, like people, like that guy might as well. You know what that guy would have. This is what he really said. Mayor Garcetti, you weren't wearing a mask. Do you have anything to say about that? Oh, sure, great question. I have something to say about that. Right there, all you fucking plebes. That's what I have to say to you, fucking losers. Of course, I'm better than you. That's what he was really saying. But he says with a smirk, "I hold my breath," and everyone's like, "Oh, it's a reasonable answer. Let's move on to the next one." It's ridiculous.
All right,
but thank you so much for having me on.
Tell everybody how they can find you on Twitch, YouTube, D-Live. Tell everybody where, and you're on Twitter?
Yes. So on Twitter, it is at Noerr Robert, which is all one word, lowercase. So it's Noerr, my last name, and then Robert. That's where I'm at on Twitter. On Twitch, I'm just twitch.tv/Rob Noerr. I'm usually streaming almost every weeknight around 8 p.m. Eastern. But I am migrating to other platforms because I see the writing on the wall that Twitch is going to take me off. So I'm Normal America with Rob Noerr on YouTube, Normal America on Odyssey, Normal America on Rumble, and also Normal America on D-Live. So
if you don't want to, one helpful advice: if you don't want to invest in a domain name and a website, then just get yourself a WordPress blog. It's always best to have a place where no one can fuck with you.
Right.
And that is your own. And then I think once you have because a WordPress blog is free and it's yours. And you can also, and then you can move from that blog to having it transferred to your own domain name. So if you decide to get a domain, and then you can actually have that domain name on that WordPress blog and then start expanding from there. But I recommend that you get your own stuff that's not connected to anybody else's platform, just in case they may do a mass delete. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying, be prepared.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And you're doing it smart. You're way ahead of the game because it's coming. And here's the thing. It's not just me. Let's be clear. It's not just me as creators, but so many of the people in the audience, because the reality is this. There are people that love me. There's people that love listening to you. But if you get kicked off one of these platforms, a lot of people just don't move.
Nope.
They're like, oh, well, I'll watch someone else on Twitch then. And, it's up to us as individuals to say,
it can happen, though. I want you to know. I want you to know you have to condition them. Do you understand that Alex Jones is massively deplatformed everywhere? And do you understand he get millions of views a day? You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the Blaze, and they have Steven
Crowder. Yeah.
Crowder got deplatformed two times this year from YouTube, and he had his own website along with Rumble. I have to also put Rumble in there. He had Rumble, but he also had his own website where he actually live stream on both of them. So you can have, if they decided to act to the point where they're going to deplatform, you always have a backup that's actually yours and you have control over it.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And once we get to those backups, we should give the finger to places like Twitch, because inevitably, you know what's going to happen? Twitch won't have the power, or YouTube won't have the power, and then they'll come groveling back.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll let you back up. Don't go back to them.
Yeah.
Don't go back,
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, thank you so much. And we're going to definitely do this again.
I would love to.
Thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. And this was really great. So you take care of yourself, okay?
You too. Thanks so much for having me. We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
We'll see you.
All right, guys, this is Tree from treeoflogic.com. Be sure to check out Rob in the links below, as well as the one you see on the screen here. Okay, I'll see you guys next time.